A 39-year-old could win his second World Cup. If he does, everyone will call it a fairy tale. But look closer, and the story gets stranger. The man at the center of Argentina's run barely runs. FIFA's own tracking data has him among the slowest moving players on the pitch, and yet he's already become the most prolific scorer in World Cup history, surpassing a record Miroslav Klose had held for 12 years. That's not a contradiction, it's a trade. And Argentina has been paying for it, one exhausting match at a time. The physical reality of this system is laid bare in the official tracking data. At 39 years old, contesting his sixth World Cup, Messi clocked an average speed of just 4.58 kilometers per hour, ranking 550th among all outfield players. He moved barely 1 kilometer per hour faster than the tournament's goalkeepers. Yet, this extreme preservation of energy is exactly what enabled his historic 18th career goal, permanently eclipsing Miroslav Klose's benchmark. This is not a late career miracle, it is a highly calculated tactical trade. By walking through the vast majority of a match, Messi remains physically fresh enough to execute the decisive moments that completely rewrite football history. The tactical luxury of a walking playmaker is paid for in the lungs and limbs of the 10 men around him. For Argentina, the knockout stage was not a triumphant procession, but a brutal, high-mileage survival test. The physical bill came due immediately on July 4th in Miami during the round of 32, into a grueling 120-minute war. Messi opened the scoring in the 29th minute. It took an extra-time struggle, finally resolved in the 111th minute by a Dani Borges own goal. 3 days later in Atlanta, the physical demands multiplied. In the round of 16, Egypt exposed the massive defensive spaces left by Argentina's unbalanced structure, surging to a shocking 2-0 lead. To save their World Cup, Argentina's outfield players had to launch a desperate full-pitch press. The comeback was physically savage. Messi equalized in the 83rd minute, but the energy required to overturn the deficit was immense. It was Enzo Fernandez who made the ultimate lung-bursting run deep into stoppage time, scoring the winner in the 92nd minute to seal another exhausting 3-2 victory. By the quarterfinals in Kansas City, the accumulated fatigue was visible. Against a disciplined Switzerland side, a 10th-minute header from Alexis McAllister gave Argentina an early advantage, but a second-half equalizer forced extra time once again. Even with a one-man advantage after a Swiss red card in the 72nd minute, Argentina's depleted bloc had to labor through every possession. The breakthrough required moments of sheer physical will. A spectacular long-range strike from Julian Alvarez in the 112th minute, followed by a final goal from Lautaro Martinez in the 121st minute to secure the 3-1 win. 3 consecutive knockout matches, 2 periods of extra time, a collective squad running on empty. The only modern parallel to this physical gauntlet is Croatia's legendary run to the 2018 final, where they survived consecutive extra time periods. But Croatia's system distributed the defensive work evenly across a balanced, hard-pressing midfield. Argentina's system is different. Their players do not just run to win the ball, they run to cover the structural deficit of a captain who remains completely stationary. The scoreboard only captures half of the tax Messi exacts on opponents. By the end of the tournament, he registered 10 assists, setting the highest single tournament mark since FIFA began tracking the statistic in 1966. This tally pushed him past Diego Maradona's benchmark of 8 assists from 1986. Yet, the record books reveal a rare convergence of playmaking and finishing, placing him level with Pelé for the most knockout stage involvements in World Cup history. The data shows a player operating simultaneously as his team's primary provider and its final target. This statistical peak was built entirely on lethal efficiency when the ball arrived. For decades, Argentine greatness was measured by a singular, unyielding standard. The recurring indictment against Lionel Messi was simple. Diego Maradona had delivered a World Cup, and he had not. In 1986, Maradona carried the national side almost single-handedly to the title in Mexico, establishing a myth of individual omnipotence that Messi spent his entire career chasing. Even when Maradona tried to pass the torch directly, taking charge of the national team in 2008, the magic failed to translate. His managerial tenure collapsed at the 2010 World Cup, where a tactically exposed Argentina suffered a devastating 4-0 quarterfinal defeat to Germany, resulting in Maradona's immediate dismissal weeks later. This historical descent proved that charisma alone could not sustain a modern team. By lifting the trophy in 2022, Messi stepped out of that looming ancestral shadow. Yet, at 39, his final campaign is driven by an even larger ambition. He is chasing a milestone that Maradona never managed in either of his legendary roles, a second World Cup title. The quest is no longer about matching the ghost of 1986, but eclipsing it entirely. To sustain a 39-year-old playmaker at the absolute peak of international football, Argentina constructed a highly calculated division of labor. FIFA tracking data shows the mechanics of this system. While Lionel Messi patrolled the pitch at an average speed of just 4.58 kilometers per hour, making him the joint slowest outfield player in the tournament, the coaching staff outsourced the physical demands of elite football to a younger, high-energy midfield. Alexis McAllister surpassed 50 kilometers of total distance over the tournament, operating alongside Enzo Fernandez and Rodrigo de Paul to absorb the grinding defensive work and high-intensity running. This massive physical output from the engine room insulated Messi from defensive transitions, allowing him to bypass the exhausting phases of out-of-possession play. Instead of covering vast territory, Messi maintained strict positional discipline, largely occupying a compact 10-yard corridor just outside the opponent's penalty area. As the game swirled around him, forward partners Julian Alvarez and Lautaro Martinez executed relentless vertical sprints, stretching defensive lines and dragging center backs out of position. This constant off-the-ball movement cleared passing lanes and preserved a pocket of space in the center of the pitch. By remaining stationary during build-up phases, Messi saved his physical energy for the moments that dictate matches. The strategic trade-off is mathematically precise. Argentina accepts a structural deficit in defensive coverage to ensure their captain is cognitively and physically fresh when the ball arrives in the final 15 meters. In this zone, where matches are decided, that saved energy is spent in decisive bursts. The system converts raw, outsourced mileage into tactical efficiency, turning a stationary veteran into the most dangerous threat in the tournament. These historic heights in the World Cup record books are not the triumph of a solitary genius, but a monument built on collective exhaustion. Every milestone Argentina's captain claims is paid for in the burning lungs of his teammates, who carry the physical burden his stationary role rejects. But the ultimate test of this tactical bargain lies immediately ahead. In the semifinals, Argentina faces England. It is a matchup heavy with 40 years of historical friction, instantly conjuring the ghosts of 1986 and the hand of God. For a squad running on empty, this classic rivalry is the ultimate examination of their high-stakes compromise. Today, as football demands endless running, Messi's walk remains the ultimate tactical rebellion. His records belong to him, but the sacrifice belongs to his team. True genius is not about constant motion, but knowing exactly when to strike. Subscribe for more deep football stories.